Hey everybody, it's Mark Schultz with Digital Aircraft, and we have a really exciting event that's happening today. And one of the reasons that it's so exciting for me today is that I've been working on digital and how digital is impacting the aviation industry for many, many years, over 40 years. And one of the challenges that we've had is how are we going to continue to address digital across the entire event? And we've had over 600 people that have said they want to join us in this particular event this time. And so I welcome you today, and I have some very exciting guests that are going to be part of it with us today. And so go ahead and become part of this with me as we take a look at digital records today. And so let me go ahead and just jump right in, and we're going to be talking all about how are we going to be addressing digital records in this event today. Join us. Excellent. Hey, I have two guests with me today. I have Claudio. Claudio's with ALA. Claudio, glad to have you with us today.
Hello, thank you.
Very good. And I have Bill. Bill, glad to have you with us today. He's with Tracer.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Excellent. Hey, listen, I want people to know who you are and basically what do you do. Could we please go to Claudio first? And Claudio, can you tell us the company you're with and what do you do, please?
Sure, thank you, Mark. So I'm Claudio Pezzullo, and I'm COO and General Manager of LA Italy. LA stands for Advanced Logistics for Aerospace. It's one of the leader companies that is doing logistics for standard parts, for raw materials, for equipment, and providing high-value service in the aerospace market. Has a more than 30-year history in the business with many locations also in North America, like New York, Los Angeles, very recently Fort Worth in Texas.
Okay, perfect. So one of the challenges that we've always had is how do we get our parts, and basically how do we put them together to make them more controlled and more accessible, basically. All right, excellent. And Bill, could you please tell us what your company does and how you fit into a picture like this, please?
Okay, my name is Bill Holler, and we are from Tracer, which is a company located in Estonia. We have software engineers in Estonia and, by the way, also in the Ukraine. We have been founded in order to deal with some of the important matters in the aerospace industry and other industries relating to secure blockchain, secured archiving for documentation, especially also quality documentation in the supply chain.
Okay, perfect. So we wanted to start off by just a little bit of an overview of what your two companies do. But the thing that people really want to know is they really want to know sort of what are the real challenges and why is it even necessary for your two companies really, kind of to exist. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to go back to Claudio for a minute and say, Claudio, what are the problems that exist out in the industry, and why is it that people are dealing with, issues like we have parts and materials, and there are issues maybe with parts and matching them correctly, or having to go back and check to make sure that they meet the needs. Can you basically tell us what the business problems are that we're dealing with out there today?
Sure, absolutely. So one major issue in our business, in daily business, is to guarantee the requirement of traceability documentation, because parts without documentation in aerospace are useless. And it's not just a part of documentation management, it's the full verification of full traceability from the start to origin, all, the actors in the supply chain, and verifying that everything is in full compliance. And so you can imagine that if we could, print all the documentation needed that are matching with the parts, basically aircraft cannot, fly with the weight of all this paperwork. And as I was mentioning before, it's a very tough activity to reconcile, to make sure the verification at the inbound of all the material, the checking of the proper documentation, and guaranteeing to our customer there are no fake parts, there are no mismatching, there are the full guarantee in order that when we deliver the parts, it's a free pass quality for our customer.
Excellent, very excellent. Hey, one of the challenges that we all find ourselves being faced with is how do we deal with errors, or how do we deal with things which maybe haven't been completely approved? And I want to jump into that in a second, but before I do, I just want to mention to you that there are so many people out there watching this today. This is really something that I personally have been dealing with, maybe 5 or 6 different major areas within digital for aircraft. And we have hundreds of people that have identified themselves. Maybe we could just, show a few people out there that are watching out there today. Let me just throw a few of them up there. There's people just coming in from, many, many different areas. Let's just flip through some of them and just say, we have all these people that are just coming in and saying that they're watching and they're interested in this, because this is a big demand where we have not only the right digital, but we also have digitals that are approved by the Federal Aviation Regulations, and that they stay that way, really as well. So for those of you that are watching and you're here today, I really appreciate you, being here, and I hope that you can get some value. Now, for those of you watching today, you can go ahead and feel free to ask some questions. We'll go ahead and do our very, very best to answer those. Let me jump in and try to see if we can answer some of the questions that Claudio is kind of brought up. But Claudio, you were mentioning that some of the challenges that we have really are that those things come up, and the issues are there where maybe all of the errors maybe haven't been completely answered, or maybe they haven't been completely satisfied, and they come up as a paper, or they come up as some other method. And so maybe could you tell us maybe a little bit more about how it is that we're using paper, or we're using the errors to be able to address the accuracy of the things that are needed to be able to meet the needs of the records?
Absolutely. When our, let me say, supplier, they deliver parts, and we have to perform all the quality check in order to make sure that parts are in full compliance, they are matched with a lot of, let me say, papers, no matter what, if our papers are documentable, but the operator has to check into details to guarantee the full traceability. There is a continuum, coherent set of documentation that are supporting the material. And even if, in order to do so, no matter what, it's a very manual activity in which operator has to check one by one. And in every, let me say, pass of the material, in each actor in the supply chain, this activity has to be redone. And after this activity, try to imagine how many times is done the same repetitive task into the supply chain. Well, basically then in every company, every actor in the supply chain uses its format, a different one from another one. There is no, let me say, way to make a summary that the check has been done. And after all the activity has been completed, one issue is to store this data in order that can be easily retrieved with no spending additional time to retrieve data, and redone all the check in case any actor would like to have the same confidence that the proper task has been done properly in each step of the actors. Well, this is a very time-consuming activity. People, high qualified people in quality, but as well as very, let me say, time and storage, expensive usage of all these tasks in order to keep and store the documentation, and even after retrieve the documentation, as the case may be. So the solution that we implemented will, help a lot in this repetitive task. And the digitization, automation, everything that should be done to reduce repetitive manual activity.
Yeah, Claudio, I recently worked with a very large airline in the UAE, and they were getting ready to sell an airplane. And it was amazing, because what they found out was that they had not sufficient background or records which showed all the things that were necessary of the parts. And so they had to pull the parts off, and they had to go back and check the parts and make sure that they had the records that were necessary and document those things in order to be able to sell the aircraft. And so we're dealing with a lot of different things that are absolutely necessary in order to be able to document, parts on the aircraft. And so I can understand the big challenges really that, that you're faced with. Now, just for a moment, we have another photograph here that I want to just have come up here in the records here. And I know that many times the things that you have then, they're documented at that particular point in time. Now, Bill, what do you do with the records then that are then attained from the part itself?
Okay, before I answer your question, let me just go back to Alvin. Alvin Ordulo has just made a really good comment here, and I cannot resist in jumping in. I mean, Alvin, you wrote that this discussion is very timely because I think we all know about the recent incidents regarding fake products. And you're right, the timing could not be better. And before I come to the solution of this, let's elaborate the problem a little bit more. It's not the first time that fake parts have entered the aerospace environment. We had at least 2 very large cases in the recent past, and one extremely large, some maybe 20 years ago. So all of us know the problem of fake products. Of course, this is only possible because this aviation world still uses paper documents. Now, everybody who knows how to use a correction tape or whatever knows how easy it is, or to fake a PDF is an easy thing, knows how easy it is to fake documents. That's still the case today. And this industry, except ALA, but the whole rest of this industry is based on paper documentation. And sometimes the faking is done really in a good way, so you're not, or it's almost impossible to detect it. But now we're talking about the digital solution of this, the digital solution for this huge archives. And please understand, the handling and archiving alone of the paperwork in Europe causes about 80 million euros costs per year, and that's not including the checking of the paper. It's just the manual handling. It sounds like an incredibly large number, but those figures are given to us from the industry, which I don't want to go deeper into, but that's a realistic figure. Now, if we turn this manual handling into the digital world, there is no manual handling anymore. And maybe Claudio will tell about how that is done fully automatically in their environment in the background through the SAP system. But the saving of the costs from going from paper to digital is only one reason, or one requirement to go digital, but it's definitely not the most important one. The more important one is the fact that once we are in the digital world with all these archives, with all these important documents, once we are in that world, then we can use the tools that are available there. Tools like AI, NLP, tools like automatic inspection of documents. Think about it, what it means, especially also in the aerospace industry. I may be a visionary, but let me predict that in about 10 years, or maybe even in 5 years, 90% of the quality inspection will be done automatically within the digital environment. And that's only possible if the industry has made step number 1. I'm very grateful that ALA Corporation has been pioneer in this field and said, okay, we are going to turn our quality documentation into this digital world with blockchain protection. You cannot fake it, and if you need to have it, it's there on the click of the mouse immediately as a legal valid document.
Yeah, Bill, what I would really like to hear between the two of you is what has been the biggest advantages that have occurred as a result of doing that between the two of you?
Well, I can jump in and follow what just Bill said. Simplified a lot the business because once the check has been done, we integrated the tool into SAP. So once we deliver the material to our MSC customer, in our certificate of conformity packing slip, there's just a QR code. This QR code, as Bill was saying, is basically the guarantee that scanning and adding this service, you can have all the data in the record has been duly checked and cannot be corrupted. So no one afterwards can change what we declared according to our documentation. And so in order that something should work properly, should be very simple. And this solution was very simple. Was to integrate something that was already working, just adding a small QR that is a stamp, digital stamp, that may guarantee that all the activity requested by customer have been done duly and properly. And then even we can dematerialize this document because we don't need to print. You can print if you want it, but everything is fully digitalized, is in the hands of customer. Even after, as you said, Mark, after many years, you have the requirement to check what has been delivered when from who. Just scan, you got all the information with the legal, let me say, validity.
Yeah, excellent. And Bill, from your perspective, is that how do you think that impacts the overall cost of addressing the challenges of maintaining the right parts?
Well, actually, it would be tempting to talk about costs, but every cost saving I would mention here may be and will be very nice, but it will miss the real point. The real point is to go into the digital world because those, and I call them digital slaves, AI, can do such a lot of work for us simply if we allow them to do. That means put the paper into the digital world, which is very easy, by the way. It's simply scanning and then uploading in. And if you wish, then these documents, if you allow your documents to be analyzed, these documents can be analyzed. You will be able to retrieve the content of these documents and think about the huge archives we have in this industry. Extremely huge archives. You need to store those files for 10 years, 20 years, and sometimes even more. But there's a lot of information in these archives. In the digital world, you can retrieve them. You can use these important values, test results, whatever, in order to make something out of it. And for example, in the case of fake parts, the computers would immediately notice if such a serial number never existed before and suddenly exists. It's just simple things like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me ask you this then: is that I started out by asking you about the cost, but I guess the real reality is that meeting the regulations and meeting the requirements for regulations would exceed that, because if we can't meet the regulatory requirements, it doesn't matter what it costs, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Moving from cost to the value, as Bill was saying, is a different really concept, because the value of guaranteeing integrity and traceability, and by the way, even reducing cost, operational cost, is intangible evidence that is supporting the innovation. And again, innovation and digitization are two sides of the same coin. In fact, let me say, in addition to which are the global standard requirement, we did decide to invest also in automation, in checking of the control of the parts. And this will enable us at the end of the game to have a digital twin of the physical parts that we had a certain moment in our stock, and then we delivered it. And then we didn't have any other chance to get the data of the material that we didn't deliver completely to our customer, but keeping a digital twin of the physical material that we deliver, matched with all the control that we did it, that we guarantee that we did it in a proper manner. This is a huge value. And so the main issues now is to create the standards of this item. But again, having something very simple, very easy to be integrated in different and several platforms, to be very versatile, will be the key to deliver an additional value and additional service to our customers.
Okay, very good. Hey, if I were to break this up into like maybe three separate areas, like into the people that monitor regulatory um, uh, impact, people which are monitoring the ability to manage the MRO, and people that are monitoring the ability for an airline basically to be able to do that. How are they impacting each of those? Could I maybe start with each of you, to tell me how that's happening? Claudio, can you tell me, is it how how is your service affecting those three different parties in doing that?
Well, for sure, the requirements are moving and becoming even more stringent according to what is happening on the market today. And of course, guaranteeing the total respect of the requirement is very important. So it's something that is not negotiable. So guaranteeing that we can deliver not just part, but a service. A service is a complete, let me say, set of different tasks. So now we are more in a market of data rather than market of products. So many companies can deliver products, but guaranteeing that the products with the data are consistent and are done in full compliance and traceability, not only with, let me say, quality, but also with compliance, with IDAR, with export, with traceability, with additional restriction that may be peculiar from each single business. For instance, some part may be useful for one customer, maybe not for another one. And so giving this specific, let me say, this specific requirement to each individual customer is what is the real challenge. And now managing data in a properly manner, it's even getting more important than managing parts. So these two tasks should be matching, increasing the complexity of the service that we do deliver to our customers that are becoming even more, as I say, stringent day after day.
Yeah, very good. Bill, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Mark, the more participants in this aerospace industry will take part in this digital world, the more benefits everybody will have out of it. Very few people really know the huge requirement for secure archiving that everybody in the supply chain has today. On the digital world, it would be gone because we have a much more secure archiving. And that's also leading to the comment of Ahmed that he just made. The documents here are not stored on an internal server or so. They are stored in the world's safest and largest cloud. And especially it's the world's safest cloud. Nobody can access those documents if he doesn't have the QR code, as Claudia mentioned before, or the UUID, which is digital link. So even we cannot access the documents of our clients. So the blockchain technology makes it 100% secure that the documents cannot be altered. And by the way, talking about blockchain, we're not using the method that the crypto industry is using, with putting a lot of energy into the security of the documents. We have a green blockchain technology. So we do not put all the documents in the blockchain. We, from a set of documents, it can be 10 pages, it can be 100 pages, doesn't matter. We build hash code. That hash code is like a fingerprint, not larger. And that hash code is in the blockchain. And when the documents are retrieved, they're compared with the hash code. And that's a very intelligent, energy-saving technology here. By the way, sustainable software development will deal with these matters, and we are one of the front runners here. So security of the documents and the ease of archiving throughout the whole supply chain is really important. I mentioned the other participants in the supply chain. For example, if ALA ships parts to a customer, they could make the best use of those of the digitalization by simply scanning the QR code, which is on the delivery node, and they can use any device for the scanning. and they will have access to the paper if they are registered. If they are not, they will only see the metadata, which is very, very secure. So the supply chain can make the best use of it, and altogether the savings will be really incredible. But that's something I don't want to talk about because the other aspects are so much more important. And Marius, you also mentioned this. We have to look for the real integration into the customer's IT environment. By the way, our solution is here. The Certrace solution is easy to be implemented in an SAP world, in any of the other ERP systems. It's very flexible and very secure.
Yeah, Claudio, let me ask you this: is that as we continue to move forward in this space, there's really so many people that have been challenged by managing their parts and materials and figuring out how to better control them and make certain they meet regulatory requirements. What's your vision for how people are going to be able to continue to meet those needs and requirements moving forward? I mean, what do people really have to do? What's next for that?
Well, really, the next step and moving forward is to integration and having really consistent data ready to be available. So now the value of the value-added service is what is the customer requiring. So our customer, let me say, granting for given that you deliver the parts on time, on cost, on quality. But now the new requirement is to guarantee the storage through the life of products of the data in a consistent manner, and all the service together in terms of traceability, consistency of data through the life platform. Just make an example touching what just been said. Happened to me last time that I was in production in a customer plant that was needed a certain parts, certain batch. So without phone call, without email, without any call, just scanning the documentation, you got whatever you need in instant time. And this is exactly this kind of data of integration of all the supply chain, of all the actors from manufacturer to logistic providers to OEM that are in the same network sharing the data in a secure manner, in a closed loop, in order that they guarantee that the products are perfectly matched with all the requirements.
Okay, so if I'm in a position where I'm needing parts and materials which are meeting, higher standards and objectives, I'm going to ALA. And if I'm in a situation where I need to be able to do that, I need to be able to provide better, parts and materials at a higher standards, I need to be going to Bill. So Bill, can you tell me what is it that I need to be doing if I need to be able to be providing, parts and materials at a higher standard? How do I come to you and try to drive that?
Contact us and let's arrange a, let's say 15 minutes meeting, half an hour meeting or something, and you're going to see how easy it is to go digital, how secure it is, and we'll take time for you to discuss your needs.
Okay, perfect. So for those people that are out there watching today, I say that there are solutions out there that exist today, and I think we've already started to see that from ALA, and it really makes a big difference. And really, I really literally have seen this for so many years, and it has not been solved until just a few years ago. And today we're starting to see blockchain, and we're starting to see requirements that surround that, and some solutions which are coming out to solve that. And I'm quite impressed by what Bill has brought to the table, really, to be able to help people to be able to do that. And that's really why I asked them to come on today and begin to tell us about that. So what I want to do today is I want to offer, those of you that are out there to reach out to us and just let us know what you're looking for. And we're happy to continue this conversation. And what I've done is I've provided my LinkedIn, and you're welcome to reach out to my LinkedIn and give us a reach and just say that, hey, I'd like to learn more about this, or we'd like to try a test, or we'd like to go ahead and take a look at what it is that you're doing right now. And I'm certainly happy to connect you back to Claudio or to Bill and create a situation where you might be able to find out how to be able to either take your situation and make it more secure, or to provide a solution to your environment to be able to cause it to be better. And so go ahead and feel free to do that. And so I'm looking forward to hearing about that from you guys. And so, gentlemen, let me just ask you this. Let's just see if there's anything. Is there anything that today you'd like to wrap up this conversation with, you think, today that would help people to better understand what it is that we're trying to accomplish? Let me start with you, Bill. Is there something that we'd like to share with people?
Oh, definitely. There was a workshop, it's now maybe already 4 years ago, when the aerospace industry came together. It was an ICAO workshop, it was an EASA workshop, and also IATA, similar things. And there was one topic in these workshops which turned out to be the most important requirement of the aerospace industry, which is the digitalization of the documentation. And now, let me just mention Elvis Presley. It's now or never.
Okay, perfect. And Claudio, is there? I guess I'd like to hear from you. How you feel about this particular approach to addressing things and how it's impacted your business.
Well, in a nutshell, when innovation is working is when it's easier to use it rather than explain it. So, but just deliver our parts. You can check it in our COC. You can scan a QR and then you fill it. So by experience, it's so easy that basically, really 2 words is even enough. But really, in a nutshell, paperwork, blockchain, security, traceability, simplification, digitization can be reduced just in one logo, in one symbol, a QR, that is on, let me say, COC, everything is back. So simplify reducing the data and the amount of data that the people has to manage is the really next challenge. And we can do that on behalf of customers that are willing to pay because there is a value on that.
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous. It's a perfect opportunity for us coming up. Let me throw one last screen up and just show you some of the things that you can get in touch with me for. Number one is that you can get in touch with me to address this particular issue and on the website or on the LinkedIn page. And then there's many other places in which my company also has where people can go to, and we address many challenges that exist in the industry today. But for you wanting to address this particular issue, go to my LinkedIn page, and we will specifically reach out to you and help you to solve this particular problem. And we're looking forward to hearing from you. And so, bottom line is, thanks for joining today, and gentlemen. Bill, thank you for being with us today. I feel like the solution that you provided is very excellent, and I'm very glad that we've had the opportunity to be able to show it. And Claudio, I see that you pick really solid solutions to be able to solve your problems, and I thank you for bringing Bill here today to be able to show us what he's doing. So, gentlemen, thanks for being here today, and I'm looking forward to continuing to see your success as we go forward into the future.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining, and fair winds and following seas, and I look forward to seeing you into the near future.